Hi, this is me now.
And this is Kashmir.
We're Savani Sis,
here to activate Sukha, your inner joy. Hey everyone, today I thought we'll talk about affirmations, right Kashmir?
Yeah.
The reason why is because that's something that we've been doing for the last 2 months. So you may want to know what are affirmations. Some of you may know that already, but we thought we'll recap that. So affirmations are positive statements or negative statements that you affirm to yourself again and again and again. And the reason why you do this repeatedly is so that you affect your conscious and your subconscious mind. If you affect your subconscious mind, when it enters your subconscious mind, you start to behave differently, you start to take different actions, and you have different thought patterns. So you may ask, okay, positive affirmations, that sounds okay to say some positive statements to yourself, but actually we're always affirming things to ourselves, and these could be more likely than not negative affirmations. So why would we even say something negative to ourselves?
Right.
Why would we, Cash?
Well, negative affirmations have actually been implanted in your brain the minute you were born. When you're children, obviously your subconscious mind is fully open, so you're very susceptible to and prone to suggestion and hypnosis. And unfortunately, the way that the world is designed is that there is much external stimuli, like TV programming, like newspapers, magazines, movies, music, television. All of that's designed in such a way to actually program you, and usually it's not to serve the best for you. It's usually done in a detrimental, insidious way. It's going to influence your thoughts to affirm negative self-talk. So you may start saying things like, but you may not say it out loud, but you'd actually be feeling that vibration of that affirmation, which would be things like, I am not good enough, right? I don't feel worthy. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not talented enough. I will never be successful. I'm poor. I'm broke. All this sort of self-defeating negative affirmations, and you don't realize where it's come from, but this is how it happens. It happens through environmental stimuli as you are growing up.
Yeah, that's it. And so it's such a common thing, isn't it, that you don't even realise that you're saying negative self-talk, because it becomes such a part of us, and it's only when we become really self-aware of our thoughts, our inner thoughts, that we realise, hey, I've just realised that this is what I've said to myself, that I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or there's no way I'm going to be able to succeed. Even if you want success, there's a voice inside you, a little voice inside you saying, no, you're not, you can't do it. Or you fear success, you can't do it, there's no way you're going to get there. It's like this little voice inside you whispering. So what is important, why do we want to say positive affirmations? Well, it seems pretty obvious now from what Kashmir's explained, why you want to actually say something positive is because when you keep affirming a positive statement again and again and again, it starts to enter your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is the operating system, the system that makes you who you are. And so if you keep saying these positive statements, then what happens is that you start to behave differently, you start to act differently, and you have different thoughts, and you start to do new things that you wouldn't have done before, and you become the version of yourself that you want to become. Okay, so we're all limitless beings, but what happens is we forget how much potential that we have. So these affirmations are bringing us closely back to our potential, our true potential of what we can achieve and who we can be. So why don't they work for many people? I've had friends who've said affirmations don't work. I've tried them, doesn't work, nothing's changed. And the reason why is because you're not doing it consistently enough. Exactly. It's got to be consistent.
Hey, Cash. Consistent. Yeah. You have to have a discipline.
Not just consistent, but you've got to repeat it, and you've got to be doing this every single day, not for a few days. And you think, oh yeah, I've done my affirmations. No. You've got to be doing it for a few weeks, for a few months. And trust me, there are people who have done that and they have changed their lives. It really has worked. And you think, why has it worked for them and not for me? It's because you haven't done it half the amount of times that they have done it. So someone said that you have to say a positive affirmative statement about 700 to 800 times a day. Now that sounds a lot, but if you were to time it, that statement, depending on the length of the sentence, it's really a total of maybe an hour that you could fit in that many statements. But obviously you're not going to keep saying a statement for a whole continuous hour, but you want to say it throughout the day as much as you can. Not only that, 700 to 800 times a day, but you've got to do this every single day. So this has got to go on for every single day. And it's also how you say the affirmative statement. So that also determines the success of how well they're going to work. So we want to talk about the 5 tips on how to say affirmations so that they work for you. So the first one, Kashmir's going to explain.
Yes, the first one I would say is say them out loud. You want to affirm affirmations to yourself out loud, okay? So what I mean by that, first of all, let's start with, what does sound even mean, right? Sound actually carries a vibration. It carries a frequency. Some of you may have listened to sound frequencies on YouTube. Why do they even create sound frequencies, and why do they claim to be so effective? And why are there so many people that have had results where they've listened to sound frequencies and things have changed and shifted within themselves? Well, I'll tell you why. When you say an affirmation out loud, you are producing a sound frequency. That sound frequency vibration comes out of your mouth, it travels through your ears, it travels through your bone, and it creates and imprints new, stronger neural pathways in your brain. And what this does is it actually establishes DNA connections which are attached to the vibration of this affirmation that you're saying to yourself. So that means that your DNA vibration will now vibrate at the frequency of the affirmation that you have been affirming to yourself. So now your DNA actually starts to change and vibrates at the frequency of, for example, you've been saying to yourself, let's say, I am a winner, I am a champion, I am a winner, I am a champion, which actually carries a very high vibration. So that means your DNA is now vibrating at the level of a winner, of a champion. Do you see how powerful this is? This means you start to change and become a winner and become a champion subconsciously. Now when your mind is changed subconsciously, now you're operating on autopilot. You have naturally now become a winner. You've naturally now become a champion. This is the power of affirmations and saying them out loud. Minal, what's the next tip?
The next tip is saying it in your head. The reason why we say that is that because sometimes there'll be people around you. You might be at work, you might be out walking down on the street. So you don't want to necessarily be saying your affirmations out loud at that moment, even though that is a really good technique. Yeah, Kashmir?
Yes, definitely.
So really, the in your head bit is when you can't say it out loud, really. Now the problem or the challenges around saying affirmations in your head is, and this is coming from experience, is when you're saying certain things in your head, often you'll find after a few seconds your mind's going to go somewhere else and you're going to start thinking other thoughts, and then it's only when you catch yourself you think, oh my god, I was just saying affirmations a minute ago, where did they go? And then you go back to them and then your mind wanders again, and it just keeps happening. So the focus is less when you're doing it in your head. There's lots of other thoughts that like to slip in while you're saying your affirmations, so that can be the challenge of it. But I would still say it's better doing that than not doing that at all. So if you can, do your affirmations in your head when necessary. When you notice that other thoughts come in, don't beat yourself up about it. Just be calm and just say, okay, so other thoughts have come back in, let me go back to the affirmations, and just keep bringing yourself back to the affirmative statements. So that is doing it in your head. Now what's the third way, Kash?
So the third way is that you want to stand in front of the mirror and say your affirmations out loud. How does that look like? Okay, so basically you're standing in front of the mirror and you're looking at your soul through your eyes. So you look into your eyes when you look into the mirror. You know how the saying is, eyes are the windows to your soul.
Kashmir, how does it look actually? Go on, what do you do when you look in the mirror?
Okay, so this is what I do, guys. So I basically just look in the mirror and say, I take deep breaths, I look intensely in my eyes and I say, I love myself. I love myself. Do you hear me, Kashmir Savani? I love you, girl. I love myself. That's what you want to do, guys. You want to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love me. And you say it out loud with conviction, with authority, with a strong, undeniable belief. Okay, and that emotion that you're producing, and that body movement, and that physiology of I love myself.
And you can do a funny face if you're doing it as well.
And you can do a funny face while you're doing it, like I'm doing right now. I love myself. When you do that in front of the mirror and you say it with conviction and authority, you're creating the body movement, you're creating the emotions, you're creating stronger neural pathways in the brain. Again, it goes back to the first point I made, where you're creating strong neural pathways, establishing DNA connections. So now your DNA starts to vibrate. I love myself. Just imagine how your life will look like when you truly believe and know that you love yourself. Okay, it would bring you tremendous value and benefit to your life. Life changing.
And I would say physiology is really important. So you can walk around and pace.
Yes.
And also say affirmations where you use your fist and you put it in your hand and yes, I'm a success, I'm emotionally, physically strong,
Exactly.
I'm at ease, I'm at peace, or whatever it is. And this is just one of the actions, but you can do whatever action you want that really empowers you. Your physiology actually affects the way you think and feel, and so your mind and body are always communicating with each other, right? They're not separate, they're all one. They're always communicating. So sometimes just moving your physiology, putting your shoulders back, your head up high, smiling or looking a certain way, or doing certain gestures with your hands can really get you to start to feel the affirmation.
Yes.
Yeah, that really works.
That's a very powerful one.
That's a really powerful one. So the fourth tip is recorded affirmations. So you can have recorded affirmations playing overnight. Overnight is a really good time to actually do affirmations, because when you're sleeping, your brain goes from the alpha to the theta brainwave state, and your subconscious mind is open. The gates are open, and things can go into your subconscious mind much more quickly. So when you listen to affirmations at night, even though you're not listening when you're asleep, it is going into your subconscious. It is affecting you. And so what you want to do is listen to your affirmations in a low, comfortable level, so it doesn't disturb your sleep, but it's low enough that you can still hear it. And you can also do this when you're working. So if you're working from home or working in the office, you could put affirmations on at a low, comfortable level in the background. So it's always constantly playing. You're always constantly feeding your subconscious mind. The other way you can do it is record your own voice on your phone. And you can actually record your own affirmations with your own voice. And sometimes that can be more powerful because it's you that's saying it rather than somebody else. And so that's also something that you can have playing in the background. Now, the fifth way of actually doing affirmations is something that we both do, scripting.
Scripting!
Yeah.
We both do scripting. This is when you write down your affirmations, and you can actually put your affirmations into the context of a story, of a life story, saying that I am a winner, I'm a champion, this is how it looks like for me. Ooh, I'm now doing everything I want. I'm now being, doing and having anything and everything I want. I'm not shy, I'm not afraid, I'm not scared, I'm extremely confident, I'm a winner. What does that mean? You can write a whole script on this, and it's so powerful when you're writing down, because you're actually focused more. And a lot of neural pathways are created in the brain when you're writing things down as opposed to typing things in a computer. So I absolutely suggest and highly recommend that if you were to write down your affirmations, definitely write it down on white paper with blue ink. Blue ink, why? Because it actually holds a very high vibration, and it's a positive vibration. And you write it down on white paper with blue ink, and you just write down your affirmations, and you're focused, and you're creating neural pathways, and it's coming true. The universe is receiving your messages.
Exactly. So lastly, that's our 5 tips on how to say affirmations and make them work for you.
Yes.
The last tip is when. When do you say affirmations? Well, any moment you can get, right?
Any moment you
all
can
the
get.
time.
Ideally all the time, but preferably all the time, but
Preferably all the
ideally first thing in the morning and right before you go to bed. Why? Because that's when your brain is beginning to go down to the alpha state, which is when the brain waves are less.
Slow down. That's when they slow down.
That's when they're more slowed down, so you're more susceptible to your own positive suggestions of your positive affirmations that you want to be affirming to yourself.
So if you cannot do it any other time, just commit to those 2 times to start off with, just to get into the habit. But then the other times you want to do it, especially when you're doing mundane, boring activities, because that is when your mind can wander. That's when the negative self-talk can come in. That's when you start to think about all sorts of things. You know, Dr. Joe Dispenza said we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you had the day before. Exactly. So what you want to do is, those are the times when you want to introduce new thoughts into your head, because that's when your mind's just going to be all over the place. So when you're in the car, when you're driving to work, or a journey that you've done thousands of times, you're pretty much on autopilot then, and that's when your mind can wander. So when you're in the car saying your affirmations, saying it out loud in the car is a good idea when you're alone and nobody can hear you, so that's a good time to do it. You know, when you're doing housework, when you're doing, washing the dishes or hoovering, that's a time when your mind can wander as well. When you're going out for a walk, listen to your affirmations on an audio. Exercising, you can do exercise affirmations that you love working out, and your muscles are getting stronger and your body's getting more toned. So you could do affirmations specifically for exercise. So really, those are all the times that you want to do it. That's really our tips about affirmations.
Yeah, that's our main tips about
that's
affirmations.
our main ones. There's a lot more.
We're going to do more videos in the future about expanding on the topic of affirmations, because it is so imperative. It is so important to your success.
How you talk to yourself, what you say to yourself, is so important. So this is something we're definitely going to cover more of. So stay tuned.
So stay tuned. Have a wonderful day, and bye for now.